1994. So this would have been probably around April or so of 1995. So we're talking about I was very much 21. And why I think, and they said that went against I wasn't going to be the person they wanted me to be. And that went against their strategy for me. So I think what they had was, they had things already lined up that I wasn't going to be a real person with real sexual needs. And I started a video that I said, I think it's very healthy for women to have sexual desires, sexual relationships. And I say with men, because they want me to kind of make this channel in general. I can't. My life isn't lived in general. It's lived specifically through me and through my life experiences and what I go through. So it will have to be about relationships, sexual relationships with men. And why I think that it's perfectly normal for me to put that above other things. I do believe that. I believe that when I'm in a sexual relationship with a man, he does sort of become something I focus on. Does that mean I only focus on him? No, but I think it's natural. Part of why they wanted to get these stories out there is because it starts out, I'm horrible, I'm horrible. Now it's like, well, tell me what you think of this, because they want to steal some of my experience, which they have already. Look up the Northbury papers and my name, Shamega, written by my college professor. But also I think it's like, if they have a topic in mind, then they can kind of go based off what I'm saying, because nobody would spend millions of dollars following me around, at least since 2016, 24/7, talking to me, talking about my life experiences, investigating everything, if they didn't have something they wanted. Nobody would do that. And part of why I'm saying this is that it's so important to me now, because it's like they put all this time and energy to do with my life what I was trying to do with my life. So it's not just stealing from me, it's trying to get over on me. That was another phrase. I'm trying to use all the old phrases Gen Xers know. When our grandparents used to say, oh, that person's trying to get over on you. That's what I'm saying. This is all about getting over. So by saying all my business out loud and wanting people to steal from me so that they can get over on me, the goal is to make me look like I'm not good enough. So on the one hand, they said, oh, you had this sexual relationship when you were 21. On the next hand, they said, oh, that means you always had sexual relationships. Weren't they the same ones who said nobody wanted me, I was unattractive, men didn't really like me? So it seems in a video, I can't find the video yet, I must have said at one point in college, I was kind of known. So I've shown you guys like the brochure, I've shown you a press release, I've shown you the newspaper, not just the newspaper from the dean's list, but when I was elected to the CSA elections, that would have been probably 1991. So I was kind of known on campus. So they said in a video, I said, oh, I was kind of a big deal. And they said that's equivalent to saying, don't you know who I am? Which to me, that's not even anywhere near, don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am is something I hear people say when people would know who they are. Saying I was kind of a big deal on campus means people would have known me at the time and people were familiar with me. I could walk around and wave to people and people would know who I was. So those are two different things. But then again, they're trying to make it seem like, oh, that's really being like, but at 52, if I say that at 52, I probably wouldn't have said it when I was on campus. You know what I mean? Like, they're getting everything all confused. So if you asked me when I was in college, so I would have been from 17 until 21 in college, was I kind of a big deal? I probably would have been like, no, but 52-year-old me is looking back on it and say, yeah, meaning she was kind of a big deal. Like it's not the same as for me, it's not the same as when I was going through it. I can look back and say it. So if they want to say they said the word arrogant, then maybe 52-year-old me is arrogant. Maybe that's the point. Maybe that is the life experience. And I think, when I go back to as a Gen X, or what the older people would say is like, they would say something along the lines, I'm trying to think of how they would phrase it, how like the grandparents' generation would phrase it. That at the time, I probably wouldn't have felt that way. Like I would have been dealing with, 17-year-olds deal with 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds deal with. But at 52, I don't have that anymore. So at 52, I think I don't have that, maybe that's it. Maybe at 52, I can be arrogant. Do you get what I mean? I didn't have that arrogance back then. But at 52, I can say, yeah, well, that wasn't bad. And that comes just with time for me. And I don't judge myself for that. That's probably it also. So let's go back to being a woman and having a sexual relationship with a man and why I think it's important. I think it's healthy. I think it's extremely healthy. I think when I've been in sexual relationships, I felt good about myself. Maybe that is the arrogance part of it. Well, you feel good. Oh, my battery is low, so I can't stay on for long. But you feel really good when you're in a sexual relationship with a man. And I can sit back and say that and feel okay with being arrogant about that too. So when they're talking about this in terms of why would you feel that way? Well, I think I feel that way when I'm in a sexual relationship because it not only feels good, but it's like something to me that I enjoy. So if at the time I was kind of a big deal on campus and enjoyed being in a sexual relationship, I feel that was probably a good thing for me. It's healthy. That's what I'm trying to say. I think it's healthy. The other times that I was in sexual relationships, I think I was healthier then too. I feel like it was just a healthy part of my life. And for them to try to twist it into something negative, that just goes to show I don't feel that way. I don't agree with them. They said that they're trying to come up with a way to prove that I've changed. I don't know why these lights are here. Those little sparkly lights, I don't know why they're there. But they said they're trying to come up with a way of proving that I've changed from who I was. And they thought that before I wasn't this way. But even the elementary schoolmate admits I did have relationships with guys. They weren't sexual, but I always had relationships with guys. And she would admit that there was like, she would want to say, well, oh, guys didn't like me. They had a whole long thing that guys liked her better. They really didn't. And she'll admit that. They said that the reason why they always set it up for any woman I'm with to have more male attention was to affect me. I don't think it was that. I think, I think it's natural that if you have an attractive friend, your friend's going to get attention. I don't think there's any competition there. I think it's perfectly natural. I don't think if they set it up at the time, it would have made me feel like, oh, they set this up. I think it's just perfectly natural. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I would, they said I would prefer for my friends to get attention. I don't think it would matter to me. I don't think it mattered back then. Today, it definitely wouldn't matter. I just wouldn't care one way or the other. They said when they were doing the voices for me, meaning they kind of came up with a personality assessment, but they based it on themselves and not on me. If they based it on me, then they would have realized it didn't matter to me. I want them, because they knocked, I want them to ask the elementary school mates, since, they seem to have time to do this sort of thing. Did she think that I didn't have normal relationships with guys when we were in elementary school? Let's see what they say. I think I heard them say, I never, meaning they never would have said all these things. I had normal relationship with the boys in school and even in high school. and in college. In the book, the Shamega character, there's a page where they talk about she has a bad relationship with some boy named Tibby. And he's like, Shammy, you don't like boys or something. And I think that's what they were basing this on, the whole idea that I'm Shammy and I don't like boys. But the real me likes boys and didn't have a problem with boys. So I think that goes back to, when I'm trying to look for something that confirms what they're saying, I can point to the book. They said, well, this is what they said, we, meaning they used we for them. They said, we're trying to match comments that I got to things that they've said. And what I'm saying is, if we, not me, them, if they, so I feel like, when they say, why do you say they? Well, when you say we, I can then say they. So when they are trying to match comments to things they've said, I think it means that some of them are leaving comments. I don't think it's a big mystery. I think it's like they are leaving comments. And when they leave comments, it's always that same tone. Like they're so superior to me. So I think going back to why this is so important and why I can't be arrogant in their words is because then they can't come off as superior to me. If I've had healthy relationships with men, unlike Shammy, then I do like boys. And if I was known on campus, even if it wasn't like well known on campus, but known enough, people know that I didn't have a problem with boys or anyone. And then they can't be arrogant and say, well, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. Partly why they don't want me to tell the real story is because you can compare it. Like, think about it. If there is a book and it's depicting me and it uses my first name and 3 characters have my last name, and on a page it says Shamega Johnson, it's clearly me. And if I didn't have a bad relationship with men, clearly I didn't, just based on what they, which is their we, and my me, separate, they said. So we're not going to even play their game of, well, maybe. So even when the elementary school mate admits, I was asked to the 8th grade prom, and I arranged it with my date for his friend to ask the elementary school mate to the prom. So it was actually the 2 of us, me and my date, that got her a date for the prom. So clearly I didn't have a problem with boys. And I was asked. It wasn't like I went around looking for someone. I was shocked. But my classmate asked me to the prom, and I was happy to go with him. He's a great guy. I haven't spoken to him in a long time, but he was a great kid in school, and that was elementary school. And we went to the 8th grade prom together, and we danced and had a good time. And that was what I needed. And that's probably where I get this enjoyment of being around males. They're fun to be around. I think they're important. I think, when the people talking, they said that women are bringing men back. I think it's mutual. I think men come back when we're at our best, and we want to be around men when we are at our best. So when we feel healthy and beautiful as women, I think we attract men, but I think we want men around when we feel healthy and beautiful. So I'm going to do another live probably tomorrow. I'm trying to announce it in advance so that people will know I'm doing it, but I'm also kind of doing it whenever I feel better. Like when I don't feel well, I don't do it. You can tell my face is swollen. So you guys can see that. So you guys know I'm not feeling great, but I just wanted to come on and talk to you guys a bit. So thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments. I will upload more videos soon.